made pasta before, give it a go. It's such good fun and it's really simple to make. All you need is some flour, eggs, a little bit of salt, that's it. Now, I'm using pasta flour, which is sometimes called type 00 flour, but you don't really need that. If you can't find it, just use plain flour. It will work absolutely fine. And the only equipment you need is a fork and your hands, and later on a rolling pin. You don't need a pasta machine. My mum never had a pasta machine, my nonna didn't have a pasta machine. Pasta machine is kind of like an electric whisk. You can still make a cake if you haven't got an electric whisk. You just need a good rolling pin and a little bit of time, and it's such good fun and so rewarding. So give it a go, I think you'll really enjoy it. The filling for my ravioli is a porcini mushroom one, and it's kind of a store cupboard recipe, this one, because I always have porcini mushrooms in the cupboard because they're so good to flavour soups and stews and all sorts of things. They give that really deep flavour that you don't get from anything else. So I've soaked these porcini mushrooms for 10 minutes in boiling water. Now I'm going to scoop them out. I'm not going to drain them through a sieve, because if you pour them over a sieve, any grit that was on the porcini will then end up back on them. So it's better to scoop them out, and you'll find that if there is any grit, it will just sit at the bottom of the bowl. And I'm going to keep that liquid because that will be great for our finishing our pasta later on. So I'm just going to chop those up fairly small. And then I've got some thyme from the garden. If you haven't got any fresh thyme, you can use some dried thyme, or if not, just leave it out. In this bowl, I've got some cream cheese. Traditionally, it would be mascarpone for this recipe, which is lovely if you can get it, but if you can't get it, any kind of cream cheese is fine. I'm just going to pour in my porcini and thyme in there as well. In there I'm going to put about 20 grams, not much, of Parmesan cheese. Again, the Parmesan cheese is kind of a flavouring. It just makes everything else taste better. Now, because the Parmesan cheese and the porcini mushrooms are kind of fairly salty, you might not want to put any salt in at all. You can mix this up, have a taste and decide. I'm just going to put a pinch in, and a little bit of black pepper. And then final ingredient, clove of garlic crushed. that's our filling ready to go. So once your dough has rested for about 20 minutes, you can start to roll it out. So lots of flour on the surface. I'm going to do it in 2 parts because it's just easier to roll a smaller piece. So you want your pasta to be thin enough to see your hands through it. And then we're ready to cut it. So the easiest type of ravioli to make is the mezzaluna ravioli, which means a half moon. You'd need a cutter or a glass to just cut out rounds. Some boiling water there. I'm going to salt it really well, and then pasta goes in there. This is only going to take about 3 minutes to cook. In this pan I've got some really good salted butter and I'm melting that. We want to give this just a little bit of colour. The pasta's ready. I'm going to throw the mezzaluna directly from the pan, draining it with a spoon into the butter. Now, in this, I'm going to add just a little touch of that porcini liquid. And a little bit of the pasta water. It smells incredible. And then some freshly grated parmesan. And if you put it in now, it will make a lovely sauce with the liquid that's in there. finish it off with some rocket and some of those crushed hazelnuts.